Hey everybody, it's the Kamookster, and today we're going to be going over Rick and Morty, Season 8, Episode 3. We start off with our Rick and Morty floating through space, collecting old parts in the ruins of the Citadel of Ricks. Some random debris flies through their windshield, and Rick makes a touchdown to one lone asteroid in order to get it fixed. He touches down on some weird crystal cornfield where another Rick approaches him with the shotgun. I'm going to call this version of Rick Farmer Rick, and he's the one that we're going to be following for the rest of the episode.
We watch this farmer Rick go through his daily motions and, tend to his crops, feed his weird, cloned animal homunculi, and just be a functioning member of his society. He sells his weird crystal juice to a tavern of Morty's, and on this particular trip to sell his wares, it just so happened that a gang of Ricks pulled up and kidnapped a bunch of Mortys, just as one does. Farmer Rick doesn't seem to care too much about all the Mortys getting kidnapped, so he just walks off and tries to mind his business. But he does get caught by the poacher Ricks, who make fun of him for hanging around all these Mortys.
After successfully kidnapping all the Mortys and then lighting up Farmer Rick like the 4th of July, the rest of the poachers go off planet to drop off the Mortys, while the main poacher guy goes to some kind of weird Rick and Morty cantina and meets with the slave catcher guy from Django Unchained. While this is happening, Farmer Rick's robots come over and stitch up his wounds, all the bullet holes and shit. He was shot 20 times. I don't know how he's even savable at this point, but Ricks are OP, or at least the ones we follow. As you're gonna see later, the rest of the Ricks die in one fucking shot. But it is what it is. Anyway, Farmer Rick's okay. He wakes up and he goes back to his farm, where he sees that all the poacher Ricks basically they torched all of his land, his corn. They killed his animals, and they even shat on his music tastes, which is by far the worst thing they've done. So Farmer Rick goes crazy. He goes on the offensive. He equips all of his guns, turns his regular truck into this weird flying truck, and he flies out to space to go find the new and improved Citadel of Ricks to take down all these poacher Ricks. Now, halfway through this flight, he finds out that there's 2 Mortys stowawaying on his ship, and it's a little too late to go turn back, so he tells the Mortys that they are probably going to die, which they probably are. As Farmer Rick gets closer and closer, we cut back to the poacher Ricks, basically, gambling and doing random shit. And apparently they get paid in portal fluid by, Django Unchained slave catcher Rick. That's not what I'm going to call. Okay, it is what I'm going to call him. It is what I'm going to call him. All these evil kidnapper Ricks and their leader are having a pretty decent time until Farmer Rick and his 2 Morty sidekicks bust in and start shooting shit up, bro. They managed to take a fuck ton of Ricks in one shot, which makes no sense. Why do some Ricks die in one shot, and why are other Ricks borderline unkillable? Main Rick and fucking Rick Prime, dude. One bullet wouldn't do shit to them, but these guys are just I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's just how the story's gonna go, I guess. But anyway, one of the 2 Mortys gets killed in the struggle, and the other one is he's a fucking badass. He's taking out Ricks left and right, dude, and he's just a Morty. This goes to show, Morty's potential. Morty's, we'll talk more about that in the commentary portion. But yeah, Farmer Rick and his Morty clear out all the Ricks, and one of the Ricks, the main poacher Rick, escapes. And I'm getting really tired of saying Rick. Describing these episodes makes me sound like a fucking psychopath. Farmer Rick and Morty track the kidnapped Mortys to this weird underground basement, filled to the brim with cloning equipment. And then they get ambushed by a ton of Ricks and that Django Unchained, the dude, Django Unchained villain Rick. Whatever, man. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to keep on complaining. It's here where Django Unchained villain Rick slowly reveals that the farmer Rick that we've been following is more than what he seems. He is apparently really good at cloning Mortys, and he actually cloned all the Mortys that these Ricks had just kidnapped. Now, these Ricks aren't as smart as Farmer Rick, so they don't know the proper way to clone a Morty, but Rick does, and I don't even know why they want to clone the Mortys in the first place. It's not properly explained. I don't think so, but they force Farmer Rick to clone these Mortys, so Farmer Rick does exactly what he's told and clones this guy, this huge hulking Morty, who I'm going to call Mega Morty. And Mega Morty just decides to immediately just fuck shit up. He turns on all the Ricks, and smashing them to bits and killing them and tearing them in half, dude. He's the Hulk Morty. You know, he's the hero of the Mortys, bro. While Mega Morty is like tearing shit up, Farmer Rick like frees all the Mortys that were locked in like the cloning vat shits, and they're basically his sons, not just his grandsons. Like he made them direct so much more directly than like one makes their grandson typically. Farmer Rick gets all the kidnapped Mortys to a ship and sends it off, sacrificing himself to stay on this planet and finish off Django Unchained villain Rick. We cut over to Mega Morty, who's absolutely tearing up the planet, murdering all the Ricks on it, like completely destroying buildings and stuff. But he's losing steam. Like the other Ricks are starting to like get to him with all their overwhelming numbers, and they eventually do put down Mega Morty, R.I.P. bro. But just as Mega Morty dies, Farmer Rick shows back up, and he like completely like wipes out the rest of the Ricks that survived Mega Morty's assaults. Farmer Rick tears through these armies, and we slowly see him get more and more injured. But we do cut over to Django Unchained villain Rick, who's gathering all of his portal fluid to get the heck out of Dodge because things are going completely wrong on this planet. Before he can get to this planet, though, the main poacher Rick shows up and holds him at gunpoint, asking for all the fluid that he has. While Django Unchained Rick does seem like not much of a threat, he does have a gun under his table, which he used to kill poacher Rick and escape with all the portal fluid. So yeah, like I said before, Farmer Rick is getting more and more injured, and he fucking loses the arm at some point. And once he's weak enough, that is when Django Unchained villain Rick approaches him through a portal and decides to kill him. However, Django villain Rick does hesitate long enough for Farmer Rick to press a charge that basically like detonates a fucking nuke on this planet. Like, I mean, the explosion is so big you can see the curvature of the damn planet they're on. I don't know how small the planet is, but you know what it is. But anyway, he hesitates just because he finds out that Farmer Rick is actually his dad, essentially. Like he's the one that cloned him or whatever. I'm so fucking confused with this episode. I'm so confused. And I bet you're confused listening to me because there's only two fucking characters in this entire episode. Only two, and that is Rick and Morty. Citadel episodes. So yeah, Farmer Rick basically sacrifices himself in this huge nuke. He like destroys the entire newly built Citadel for like the 5th time. How many times are we going to destroy the Citadel? The kidnapped Mortys that Rick sacrificed himself for decide to head off into different directions this time. They're not all like huddled together in some type of citadel or whatever. They all go on like vastly different planets that each reflect their aspects of their personality, And I'm sure one or two will show up again in a later episode. But yeah, with the Morty that initially followed Rick onto the truck, back where this all began at the farm. And yeah, there he sits until our Rick and Morty that we follow throughout the series shows up and assume that he destroyed the farm and killed his Rick and did everything completely incorrectly, by the way. And they don't do anything about it either. They just like say, "Oh my God, the Morty must have killed his Rick," and they grab that Morty's fidget spinner, which he dropped on the ground at some point, and leave. So commentary on this episode. It was okay, I guess. I mean, I don't find much wrong with it. I just think that, as always, like Rick's, like alternate reality Rick's dying super easily makes no fucking sense. Like, I don't know. It's like in those Deadpool comics, like the ones where it would be Deadpool versus like other versions of himself, and they'd be like, "Oh, not every Deadpool has a healing factor." And I'm sitting here like, so what? He's the only Deadpool in the fucking multiverse with a healing factor? Because why is every other Deadpool he fights just doesn't heal? He just needs like one shot to kill them. I don't know. It's just the same thing with Rick and the other Ricks. But other than that, I think it's pretty cool. I have the same criticisms I had for the other 2 episodes. We don't get to see Rick and Morty dynamics because even like these other versions of Rick and Morty aren't the same. Like, they don't have the same personalities as the mainline Rick and Morty that like we follow throughout the series. So we have yet to see an official like dynamic between the two, like an official like true dialogue, unless you want to count like the little fidget spinner gag, But like, yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get it in episode 4. I am sure. This is gonna be it. Anything else I want to say? This episode was really weirdly explained to me. Like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't know why these Ricks even want these Mortys. Like, I don't know if it's for the weird protection that Morty gives off because he's so stupid or whatever it is, or what they need the Mortys for. But like, I don't know. I do like the weird little economy of the portal fluid, like the stuff. Like they don't have so much portal fluid, so they use it as money. So yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. This wasn't really one of the better Citadel episodes. I mean, it didn't really have many like as high stakes as almost like any other Citadel episode has ever had. But this one was fun. There was like plenty of action. This one was definitely action heavy, but yeah, nothing really changed. Like too much. Nothing really changed. To be honest, I was under the impression that we would never have a Citadel episode again after that one episode in like season 7, I think, with the dinosaurs and everyone returning to their own realities. But yeah, I mean, I'm completely fine to follow this new Morty with like the hair and the jacket. He's pretty cool. Like follow him in a future episode or something. I don't know if he's gonna be a part of the plot or something, but yeah, it's been a pretty decent ride. Been pretty fun. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. This episode discussion. Please like, subscribe, and comment and share and blah blah blah. Check out my shorts. They're kind of funny-ish. If you're not an uptight douchebag. And what else? I guess just see you later, bro. Stay scheming or keep dreaming. Thanks for watching. Peace.
I delight greatly in the Lord. My soul rejoices in my God, for he has clothed me with garments of salvation and arrayed me in a robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom adorns his head like a priest, as the bride adorns herself with her jewels. Isaiah chapter 61 verse 10.
This baby right here, he might not look like much, but he gonna take your girl. Yours. Okay? Because I'm his rule.
Levi.